Hi there, my name is Tommy. I work for the National Office of the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. Every year we get a lot of questions about originality, personal vision and voice, and copyright and plagiarism. We asked our Associate Manager of Affiliate Services, Courtney, to help explain what it means to be you and be original. Hi, Courtney.
Hi, Tommy. I love your outfit.
As I love yours, but did you copy me?
Well, since we're on the subject of copying, Be You, Be Original is our way of letting students know that any work they submit to the Scholastic Awards should reflect their personal voice and vision. The Scholastic Awards may be an awards program, but first and foremost, it's a celebration of you, your talents, your skills, and your original vision and voice. It's your chance to be taken seriously as an artist or writer, and as such, we hold you to the same standards as professional artists and writers.
What are some things students should keep in mind when creating work?
Now, before submitting works to the Scholastic Awards, all students should be aware of our three main judging criteria: personal vision and voice, originality, and technical skill.
Can you explain?
Sure. Let me give you an example. If I asked three people to imagine a bird flying through the sky and landing on a tree, each person would imagine something entirely different. If I asked those three people to describe what they imagined, they would describe 3 different birds, 3 different skies, and 3 different trees. Each description would be original, and each would reflect how that person sees the world. Now, the way each person effectively conveyed their description would reveal their technical skills.
Now what if I'm inspired by what another artist or writer has created and I want to use part of it in my own work to submit to the Scholastic Awards? Is that something I can do?
Now, if your work uses content created by someone else, you must always cite your sources. But remember, just because you cited your sources doesn't mean you have permission to use the work, and it doesn't mean your work is original.
Now what happens if I base my work off of someone else's and submit it to the Scholastic Awards?
Then your work may be disqualified due to plagiarism or copyright infringement. Plagiarism is not citing your sources and trying to pass your work off as someone else's, as your own. And if you infringe on someone's copyright by copying someone else's work without using their permission, that's also grounds for disqualification. That is why you should always submit original work.
How do I know if my work might be considered plagiarized or infringing on a copyright? Can you give me some examples?
Of course. Drawings or paintings of already published images, whether on the internet, in a book, or even hanging in a museum. A painting or a drawing of a photograph is not original just because the medium is different. Digital artists should also be careful of using copyrighted images in their submissions, especially in collaged images. Fan fiction of any kind is also not allowed in the Scholastic Awards. If your work is based off of characters or a plot from a book, television show, or a movie, you should not submit it to the Scholastic Awards. And if you want to submit a critical essay or a journalism piece, be sure to cite your sources. Let's take a look at some examples.
Excellent. All right.
Now let me read this original poem to you. And the only answer goes something like this. In the attic of everything, there is a bird with one wing, and his heart is true, and nothing like mine.
All right. Let's read this guy. And the only answer goes something like this. In the attic of everything, there is a bird with one wing, and his heart is true, and nothing like mine.
Now, Tommy, what we have here sounds like the exact same poem as the original. Simply changing an ampersand to the word and does not make this an original piece, and this would be disqualified.
All right.
Let's read the original again. And the only answer goes something like this. In the attic of everything, there is a bird with one wing, and his heart is true, and nothing like mine.
Now this guy, there is a blackbird with one wing, and his heart is true, and nothing like mine, in the attic of everything.
Now here, it seems like you may have cut some unnecessary language, and you've simply switched around the order in which the lines appear. This is also an example of plagiarism, and this work would be disqualified as well.
One more example.
And the only answer goes something like this. In the attic of everything, there is a bird with one wing, and his heart is true, and nothing like mine.
This is the sole retort. In the basement of all, there is a moth with only one wing, and his heart is true, unlike mine.
Now, here, it seems to me as though you just used your thesaurus to find some synonyms and antonyms to replace a few of the words. This is very much the same as the original poem, and this is another case of plagiarism. This goes for poems and all other writing categories in the Scholastic Awards. This would be disqualified as well. Let's take a look at some art examples.
Okay. Now, say I found this image on the internet and was so inspired by it that I decided to do a painting from it. Is that something I can submit?
Now, I do appreciate the added color that you have added to this piece. It is very clearly a copy of the original copyrighted image. Simply adding color and changing the medium does not protect one against accusations of copyright infringement. This work should not be entered and would be disqualified.
All right. Now, say I was out to brunch and I found this magazine cover of Lana Del Rey.
Oh, isn't she great?
Fantastic. And I was so inspired by it that I did a colored pencil rendering. Is that something I can submit?
Now, similar to the piece we just looked at, by changing the medium, it does not protect you against accusations of copyright infringement. I also don't see your personal vision or voice coming through here. I'm not too sure what you're trying to say. In addition, by adding some clever cropping, that does not protect you against copyright infringement. This is a copy and should not be submitted to the awards.
Okay. Now, say I was also digging around the internet and found this image that I thought if I put words on it that I truly believed in, along with a filter, is that something I can submit to the awards?
Now, here I'm getting a little more of your personal voice through this piece, but it is very much an exact copy of the original image. By adding a light filter and some text, it is not transforming the image to make it an original, and it is very much a copy of this. This would be disqualified. You should not submit work like this to the Scholastic Awards.
Understood.
But let me give you another example. Here, closest to me, we have an example of Roy Lichtenstein work. You may have seen his pieces in museums or books. Here we have nearly an exact copy of the original. By simply adding some new text, it is not going to make this piece an original work, and it is not transforming the work. This is a copy and should not be submitted. However, when we take a look at this piece over here, the style is certainly emulated, and the artist is drawing inspiration from the original, but there's an entirely new piece. I can get the personal vision and voice from the artist. This is an original work, and this is an example of something you could submit to the Scholastic Awards. While this is a copy, this transforms the work into something new.
Wonderful. These were all really great examples. Now, if you're just starting off and looking for inspiration, how can you create and be inspired without copying someone?
Now, it's okay to copy if you would like to learn or practice. This is how you refine your technical skill. Practice, but do not publish or submit this work. When it comes time to submit something, then you need to use what you've learned to do something new. Your work should have your own spin and style.
Do you have any final thoughts for our students?
I do. We hold you to the same standards as professional artists and writers. All we ask is that you be yourself. We value originality above all else, and this means no awards can be given to work that is not your own. If you do submit a copy of someone else's work, your work will be disqualified, and any awards that you received for that work will be revoked. Remember, there is no formula to receiving a Scholastic Award. We want you to surprise us, challenge us, and let us into your world. In almost 100 years, there's only one thing we haven't seen. You. And that is all we want.
All right, thank you so much, Courtney, for helping explain Be You and Be Original. And remember, the Scholastic Awards promotes freedom of expression and the free to explore any idea or topic you choose. Don't limit yourself to something that's already been done. If you have any more questions about copyrights and plagiarism, be sure to visit our website at artandwriting.org/copyright. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.